5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another trading video, and the trade of this week is Draftkings. In regards to trading this week, it was a pretty lucrative week for me. I made a little bit of money, so you don't have to feel sorry for me too bad this week. A lot of action on the market, a lot of action in the tape, in just a strong directional move up, and I have no choice as a day trader other than to just join the move. So I want to talk about my trades on Friday in particular versus the rest of the week, because Friday all had the same theme related to it, and that is really following the daily charts. This is something a lot of day traders don't do that often, and I kind of want to show you how you can apply this for your own trading. Let's go right into trade of the week being Draftkings. Now, Draftkings, I kept weaving in and out around 500 shares over the course of my Friday. I was never holding the position for too long. And the reason I had picked Draftkings as one of the trades that I was one of the charts that I was really watching very closely on Friday was its daily chart. Draftkings has been having an uptrend. I would say ever since it broke 40, there's been an uptrend. And it just had a recent setback, a mild pullback due to some announcements in New York by Andrew Cuomo. Let's not bore you with news, because honestly, a lot of times news is not that relevant to day trading other than the fact of causing price action. I felt like the tape was going to have a nice push upward based on the news being released, as well as the overall daily chart looking pretty bullish at this present time for Draftkings. So I was kind of weaving in and out of Draftkings, 500 shares at a time. And most importantly is A, the daily charts look good, but B, even on an intraday basis, I wasn't holding too long for the red candles in case I was wrong. That's kind of like my latest theme with trading going forward, is follow the price action closely. Even if you have to rebuy at a higher price than you sold it at, it is worth it just to follow the trend. And that's essentially what I've been doing. I don't hold for too many of the red candles. I try to sell it at the first instance of a red candle, even if I have to buy it higher. And that's what I did with Draftkings. Overall, I think I made $1,400 on Draftkings on the day. Pretty happy with that. So I did a lot of trades on a lot of different monitors on Friday. So apparently I was only recording on one of 6 monitors that I was trading on. So I can only go over those trades as I'm trying to keep viable records here so that everyone can potentially learn from my mistakes, or if I'm rarely successful, can learn from the rare times that I am successful. So I want to talk about why I picked up Draftkings, and then more or less kind of intraday trading it. If you take a look, Draftkings has quite a rally. I think it's actually a great name for a long-term investment. Having said that though, I'm looking to pick up day trades. I kind of felt it was in an uptrend. If you take a look, this is a daily chart right now. It was in an uptrend. It looked a little bit weak the day before, so I figured if it was gonna go up, or if it had any tendency to go up on Friday, it would be a good mover, and that's essentially why I picked it up. Essentially focusing heavily on the daily charts. I was obviously buying in and out of it. I don't like to hold too many things throughout these red blocks that often, especially big, large blocks like this. But yeah, I was weaving in and out 500 shares at a time. And once again, even later on in the day, I was buying 500 shares at a time. I was long biased towards this name, so even if there was like a dip lower, I wasn't gonna, and it was obvious that the pattern was gonna head lower. Like right here, it's pretty obvious it's gonna trend a little bit lower for some time. I choose not to short into these time frames. I would much rather take a name like Bed Bath & Beyond, which had miserable earnings. If the pattern actually is shortable at any given point in time, I would prefer to short a name that I'm short biased on, which is Bed Bath & Beyond. In this case, for Draftkings, I basically took my money off the table as the tape started to get weak. So I had an opportunity to buy here, got out right around here a couple times, and then bought back in. You'll notice through the recap of my actual live trade that that's ultimately what happened. And like I said, the tape was strong, so I picked it up right here. And I keep saying tape, but essentially what I'm meaning is price action. The price action looked really strong. There seemed to be demand for the stock, so I started to pick some up here, took it all off the table, and then as the price action turned very positive again, I bought into it several times. I want to go talk about my biggest loser, Tilray. Tilray had the same theme. Now, Tilray is a scenario where that mentality did backfire on me. I did sell it at a not so good price because, once again, I didn't want to hold it through too many red candles. And although I did end up buying it at a pretty okay price, later on in the day with Tilray, overall, I ended up losing still about $500, but I cut my overall losses from Tilray from $700 to $500 by once again weaving in and out. Once again, the initial drop with Tilray, just right off the bat, was just really fast and very violent. And before I even knew it, I was down like $600-700. So managed to grind some of that back. Once again, I'm trying not to hold through the red candles, but if it turns green, I'll start to buy it again, even if I have to buy it at a higher price than I sold it. And there's something very important I want to discuss about Tilray. If you take a look, this price action is pretty strong. I mistimed my morning trade, which actually cost me kind of dearly. It was my big losing trade on Friday. I think I finished the day losing about $500. If you take a look at Tilray, it essentially got obliterated. I tried to grab it on this breakout. I actually hit the sell like right around here. I didn't get filled, and I'm trading like 6 or 7 names. I assumed I was going to get filled. By the time I looked back, it was right around here. I eventually ended up selling it for the first time here, like $11.07, because I wanted to wait for the downtrend to come off. I'm not going to hold things into a straight up downtrend. And if it does choose to come back, or if I do see an uptrend coming back, I'll buy back into it, even if it's at a higher price than I sold it off at the downtrend. So what I'm trying to say is, in this case, we saw a relatively sharp sell-off. I sold it right here, and basically was looking for various spots to just try to buy back my shares if an uptrend occurred. But yeah, I managed to pick up a couple of smaller trades on Tilray. I think I screwed up this trade more than once or twice later on. The tape is not, it's actually not the worst to read tape, but it just plays out a little bit differently, the price action, than a lot of the other stuff that I trade. So once again, I ended up buying a little bit more right around here. Got a nice little breakout. I can't complain too much. But one of the big things I want to talk about why I am actually trading wheat stocks again is I want to go back to what I mentioned earlier. A lot of people don't look at the dailies that much. I do look at dailies quite a bit, and it looks like with the expectation of a change in political parties, there's some speculative money moving into Tilray. Now, as you guys can see, in November, it reached $12 and then it dropped back down again. Here it's reaching $9 and then it drops back down. So it has pops and drops. The key thing that I want to say is if we see a continuation of more and more speculative money move in, it might start turning into a great trade. And from a couple years back, if you guys take a look, I mean, it's $22 as of last February. But if we go to even a larger chart, you can see this was a $300 wheat stock. I don't know what was happening there. Probably the same shit we're seeing with Tesla was happening there. And yeah, that was quite a move on Tilray. That bubble has long since popped. I feel bad for anyone who's holding the bag around here. But if we start to see more speculative money move into this name, just pay attention to it. The last chart I want to talk about is Palantir. Palantir is it's one of the few IPO names that I've really dipped my toe into. I'm very familiar with the tech space, and Palantir is a great tech name. And I've been weaving in and out of Palantir. Right now, there's not a clear trend, but if I were to give a wild guess, I think it is looking a little bit bullish on the daily chart. For that reason, if there was any spike in Palantir, I was going to take it. Having said that, it wasn't on the top of my watch list. You'll notice that the first time I took the Palantir trade, it was already in the middle of the day where the major market moves were already gone. I was noticing Palantir was having a slight uptick in the middle of the day, and I just wanted to capture it for a few ticks. And that's ultimately what I did with Palantir. Captured it for a few ticks, took my money, and I ran. Hey guys, one of the last trades I want to talk about is Palantir. This is actually a really great name. I have some exposure to this in the long term, and I bought it around the IPO time, actually around $11 a share. I'm continuing to day trade this as well. Having said that, I'm very long by it, so you probably won't see me. You won't see me actually trying to short the name, even though the candles here looked weak. I just wasn't buying it from the purpose of a day trade. But right around here, I had made the assumption that the sell-off was more or less done at this point in time, and this is not necessarily a correct assumption or a healthy assumption, but I felt like the decrease was actually the selling of the initial pop that happened at $33 a share seems to be done, and at $23 it had the price had actually come in almost 40% at this point in time. And I was willing to once again try to wait for good moves and start buying the stock, at least on an intraday basis. On Friday, I was a little bit late to this name, but I noticed that it was having an additional push up after an already pretty good move on Friday. I think it opened the day negative. And I managed to catch it on a later move, I would say right around here. And made a good amount of money. When you go in later on in the day, you have to go in with a good size. I still sized it only 1,000 shares, but in hindsight, I probably should have sized it a little bit more because the move isn't going to be nearly as drastic as the beginning of the day. Anyway, that was another stock that I'm going to continue watch on the dailies. An uptrend is not really confirmed yet, but let's wait how this actually plays out. I think it's a great name, and I'm definitely, not only do I hold it in my long-term account, but I have I'm trying to trade this on a daily basis. The reason I'm talking about these trades is they all have the same concept. Look at the daily charts when it comes to making your decisions on what to trade. Keep in mind, I rarely, if ever, trade penny stocks, so I'm watching the daily charts very carefully. Another name that I'm going to mention whose daily charts is off the hook is Mara. That's probably because of the rise of Bitcoin and things like that. And of course, GBTC. Anyway, that's all I really have to say about my trades this past week. Best of luck with your trading, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I just want the money, 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 money.